Today we're starting the DC motor family, the machines that turn electrical energy into mechanical rotation using magnetic fields and current. The DC motor is one of the first practical technologies that turned electromagnetism into consistent mechanical work. And the core idea still hasn't changed. We create force on conductors using magnetic fields, then arrange the geometry so that force becomes torque. This episode will build the physics spine first. Then we'll compare motor types and explain why each one exists. We begin with the most basic field fact. Current creates magnetic field. A permanent magnet gives you a fixed field, but an electromagnet gives you a controllable field. In a coil, the fields from each turn add together and become stronger, especially with an iron core. The key takeaway is that magnetic flux depends on geometry and material. Permeability of the core, number of turns, cross-sectional area, and coil length all influence how much magnetic field you get for a given current. Translation for technicians. If you change turns, core, or current, you change the magnetic muscle of the motor. Here's the money physics. A current-carrying conductor inside a magnetic field experiences a force. That force is perpendicular to both the direction of current and the direction of the magnetic field, which is why right-hand rules show up again. A DC motor is basically a system for turning that linear sideways force into continuous rotation. If students can remember one sentence, the motor is a Lorentz force machine engineered into a rotating geometry. If you only had a simple loop of wire in a magnetic field, you'd get torque. But not all the way around. As the loop rotates, it approaches a dead zone where torque drops towards zero because the loop aligns with the field. Without intervention, the motor would stall at that equilibrium point. So the motor needs a way to keep torque in the same rotational direction as it spins. This is where commutation comes in. Commutation is the trick that makes a brushed DC motor possible. A split-ring commutator and brushes reverse current direction in the armature at the right time, every half turn, so that the torque keeps pushing the rotor the same direction. Important practical point. The commutator isn't just a connection. It's a time-switching device synchronized to rotor position. That's why brush condition, commutator wear, and contamination affect performance so much. A running motor generates its own voltage, counter-electromotive force, or counter-EMF. This is a huge troubleshooting idea. At startup, speed is zero, so counter-EMF is basically zero, meaning current is limited mainly by armature resistance. That's why starting current can be huge. As speed increases, counter-EMF rises and pushes back against the supply, reducing current. So the motor self-regulates. More speed, more counter-EMF, less current, less torque demand. This is why a motor under load draws more current. Load slows it down, counter-EMF falls, and current rises. Permanent magnet DC motors use fixed magnets in the stator to create the field. The torque-speed behavior is typically shown as a fairly straight line. High torque at low speed, and torque dropping as speed increases. PM motors are simple, compact, and efficient for smaller applications. But scaling up has limits because the field strength is capped by the magnets and thermal constraints. So for higher power industrial applications, we often move toward wound field designs. Here, we swap permanent magnets for field windings, so the motor's field strength can be controlled and scaled. Once you have field windings, you have design options based on how you connect the field coil relative to the armature, series shunt compound. This is where DC motor families emerge. They're not different because engineers were bored. They're different because industry needs different combinations of starting torque and speed regulation. A series wound motor has the field winding in series with the armature, so it carries full motor current. Result: extremely high starting torque, great for traction and heavy starting loads. But there's a serious warning: runaway risk with low load. If load drops, current drops, field weakens, and the motor can accelerate dangerously. Practical translation: series motors are fantastic where load is always present, and risky where a load could suddenly disappear. A shunt wound motor has its field winding in parallel with the supply, so field strength is more stable. The behavior is what industry loves for machine tools and conveyors. better speed regulation, and steadier RPM under changing load. So if you want consistent speed, shunt is usually your friend. Compound wound motors combine series and shunt fields. This is the Goldilocks approach. The series field helps with starting torque, and the shunt field stabilizes speed and reduces runaway tendencies. When you need a compromise between raw starting power and steady speed, compound designs exist for that exact reason. This slide is your reality check. Brushed DC motors work, but brushes and commutators are maintenance items. Key issues: friction and wear, requires inspection and replacement. Sparking and arcing can be a hazard in sensitive environments. Carbon dust, conductive contamination that can create shorts and tracking paths. A practical troubleshooting note: brush problems often show up as unstable torque, speed hunting, unusual noise, or visible commutator damage patterns. BLDC motors remove the mechanical commutator and replace it with electronic commutation. The coils move to the stator, better cooling, and magnets move to the rotor. A controller energizes coils in sequence based on position feedback, often Hall sensors. Benefits: less wear, less maintenance, quieter operation, and typically higher efficiency and control precision. Trade-off: you now need electronics, so the brains can fail. And troubleshooting includes drive logic and sensors, not just brushes and copper. Historically, electric motors changed industrial layout and safety. Instead of one prime mover driving line shafts and belts everywhere, motors allowed machines to be powered more locally and controlled independently. The key impact: better control, reduced mechanical hazards, and easier scaling of factory systems. This slide is a nice reminder that motors aren't just components, they're infrastructure for how industry organizes work. Let's summarize the family traits. Permanent magnet. Simple, compact, good for small appliances. Series wound. Very high starting torque, poor speed regulation, runaway risk. Shunt wound. Steadier speed regulation, great for machine tools and conveyors. Brushless. DC. Electronic commutation, high efficiency, low maintenance. The big mental model: you choose motor type based on what you need most: starting torque, speed regulation, efficiency, maintenance burden, or controllability. And before we wrap up, sincere thanks to Tony Coupault and the open source community for making high-quality technical education freely available. I'll include the Socratic instrumentation models link in the description so you can explore the full library.